Greetings. I am Byung-gun Park, Director at Dualoth, who will be conducting the Passwordless X1280 training explanation. Following the previous training explanation video, I will conduct a demonstration of each step today. I plan to explain each step in detail, following the sequence from the previous training. Therefore, I believe it will be helpful for you when proceeding on your own later. In the previous session, I explained the overall diagram and added the flow of port numbers between servers to assist with firewall configuration later. You can refer to it later when needed. Before the demonstration, here is a diagram summarizing the key points from the previous video to help you grasp the content at a glance. To refresh your memory, I will review the sequence once again. First, I will explain the service registration stage. Sign up for the Passwordless members site, log in, and proceed with the service registration process. Secondly, I will install the Passwordless X1280 server. Server installation can be done very easily using Docker, and it requires a configuration step on the administrator page. The third step is applying it to the web application server. When installing the Passwordless X1280 server, you must apply the key values that were previously saved. In today's demonstration, I will first show you how to integrate with the Passwordless server in a local development environment from a developer's perspective. Then I will demonstrate how to integrate with the Passwordless server in an actual production environment. Let's move to the front page from yesterday's training and proceed with the demonstration step by step. Let's start by proceeding with membership registration on the members site. On the members site, click the Sign Up button. Then, enter your email, ID, name, and phone number. Also, agree to the terms and conditions. The registration is complete. Let's check the email. There is an email verification button in the email, and clicking the button will redirect you to a page where you can register your account. Install the Passwordless X1280 app on the user's mobile device. I will skip the installation process. Since I already have the app installed, I will proceed directly with account registration. In the app, press the plus button to activate the scanner. The registration is now complete. Let's proceed to check if login is possible right away. The server displays an automatic password. You can also see the automatic password displayed on my phone. Once approved and the user passes biometric authentication, the login is completed. Let's proceed with registering the service. I will register it in test mode. When you click on test mode, a message will appear stating that it is valid for only 15 days. I will name the service YouTube Test 01. Next, for the IP, I have just been assigned a new IP. The number is 183. I will set up the server using this IP. For the service private IP, I will register the IP address of my notebook, where the development environment will be set up. Let me check the IP once. It's now confirmed as number 229. Register it like this. And register the number 183 from earlier one more time. With that, registration is complete. Once the registration is complete, the test mode immediately changes to in use. You can start testing it right away, freely, without a separate domain verification process. As I mentioned last time, the name will have the test prefix attached like this. So, I will download and save the license key file here. It has been saved like this. If you go to the list, you will notice the test prefix is attached and shows in test, as you can see. The process of membership registration and service registration on the members site has been fully completed. Now, let's install the Passwordless X1280 server. Okay, let's access the Docker Hub site. A detailed explanation of how to use the Docker image is provided. You can also check it for yourselves. I will now proceed using this command here. Let's proceed with the Docker installation. I will provide a Google link in the video's description section. If you go to that link, you'll find files with all of the relevant commands you can refer to. If you visit the link provided in the video description, it will open in Google Drive like this. And it contains all the programs you can use, along with the manuals and documents. These TXT files are for you to follow along sequentially. Go ahead and proceed accordingly. Let's proceed starting from the first file. When you open the first file, it appears as follows. I will start with the Docker installation. I already have Docker installed, so it will probably indicate that it's already installed. Nevertheless, I will show you how it proceeds step by step. Let's start the installation now. The console window says that it is already installed. Let's try running Docker. I will change Docker to the enabled state. And let's check the current status of Docker. You can confirm it is in the active and enabled state, as you can see. Next, I will proceed with the network configuration. Let's take a look at the current network setup. You can see the network has been added successfully. Now, I will execute the docker run command. The important thing here is that I need to change this IP part to the current number where it will be installed. I designated number 183 earlier. And I will proceed without using an SSL certificate. So, copy this content and proceed with the installation. The installation is complete now. Let's proceed with setting up the firewall next. Install the firewall first. After completing the installation, run the installed firewall. And similarly, change it to the enabled state. Then, check the status one more time. You can see that it is in the active and enabled state. Let's review the current firewall list. You can see that the installation was completed successfully, but no ports have been registered yet. Now, I need to configure the ports used by Passwordless X1280 here. Reload the firewall once. Next, let's recheck the list. You can confirm that the ports have been successfully added. After the firewall configuration is complete, restart Docker once. It has started successfully. Now that the installation is complete, let's execute the commands to check the installed Docker image one by one. If it appears this way, you can consider it normal. Let's check the Docker network one more time. Yes, you can see it here. Let's also check the storage space to see how the Docker volume is configured. If it is configured in this manner, you can consider it to be in a normal state. Let's start the shell and access the Docker environment. I have now accessed the inside of Docker. You can see that the prompt has changed. This indicates the connection has been successfully established. Now that I am inside Docker, let's check the installed Passwordless X1280 related servers one by one. Let's first check the status of the authentication server. I need the ps command to check, so I will first install the ps command. The installation of the program for the ps command has been completed. Using this, I can verify whether the authentication server is running normally. Next, let's check the user connection server. Similarly, proceed with the ps command. This way, you can confirm that it is running normally. Next, inside the user connection server, Nginx is running normally. Let's check that as well. Lastly, I will check the push request server. I can see that everything is running normally. So far, I have completed the installation of the Passwordless X1280 related servers and verified their status. Now, let's try to access the administrator page of the installed authentication server to proceed with the configuration. Enter the IP address or domain I installed earlier, and then proceed to connect via HTTPS using port 8143. I'll go ahead and proceed. The IP was number 183 earlier, right? When I access the IP with port 8143, a page like this appears, since I registered without an SSL certificate. Go ahead and click the Advanced button, and click the link below. Then, I get directed to the page for registering the license key first, as you can see. Register the license key that I saved earlier here. Once the upload is complete, the registration is processed successfully, and the license is approved. As a result, a page appears allowing access to the administrator page. Here, an account with admin/admin is initially set up. Enter admin for the ID and admin for the password. This password can be changed later. Now, go to the service server in the left menu and save the server ID. Since I have some server IDs from previous practice, I will delete them and save a new one. The number was 183. The server ID has been saved. Next, click the Server Key button. Please note that each click generates a new key, so use this function with caution. I will save the newly generated key for future use. Since I will demonstrate using the REST API method, I will click on server name and save it as the REST method. I have now completed the members site registration process, registered the service, and finished installing the Passwordless X1280 server. Now, from a developer's perspective, let's set up a local development environment, communicate with the Passwordless X1280 server installed via Docker, and verify if the passwordless login process is performing correctly. Open the second file, 2.local_dev_windows.txt file, from the shared materials and proceed by following the steps in order.
First, I will start by installing MariaDB. If you haven't already installed it, please proceed with the installation. Since I already have MariaDB installed, I will start by setting up the necessary database tables. I have written down the installation method in detail, so you should have no trouble installing it if you refer to it. Open the command window and log in using the password you set up. If there are already some settings configured inside, I have also included a command to reset them. Refer to it later if needed. Let's proceed with the execution. With the execution completed, the next step is to create a database to use passwordless and then proceed to generate a new table. The table is simple, right? Since the purpose is to test only membership registration. I have now completed the setup for MariaDB as well. Next, preparation to install Java is also available, but since I already have it installed, I will check the version for now. If necessary, you can proceed according to the commands above. You can check the currently installed version. Next, let's also check the JavaC version. It looks normal. Since the demo will be using Java Spring Boot, I have provided the development tool, Spring Tool Suite 4, in advance. I will designate a workspace folder and run the development tool from there. As you can see in the command, the installation process is all outlined here. You can proceed with the installation as shown. I will try running it once. I have already created a workspace. I will designate the name workspace_YouTube for the workspace. You can see it operating normally. Next, I will install Lombok. Lombok is integrated with Spring Tool Suite. I will execute the command from the folder where Lombok is located. Now, I will execute this command. As you can see, I have moved to the corresponding folder. Next, I will execute the command. Designate the executable target file here. The file is here in the project. Designate the exe file located here. Then, click Install/Update to complete the installation. Now that Lombok has been installed, close and restart Eclipse to apply the installed changes. Next, let's visit the GitHub site and download the source files. As you can see, there are repositories available on the Passwordless Alliance GitHub site. Among the repositories, I will run the Java REST API web service today. So, copy the code. Once the repository path is copied,
I will proceed to clone a Git repository. If you are installing STS for the first time, the Repositories tab may not be visible. In that case, go to the window menu at the top, select Show View, then click Other. From there, add Git repositories under the Git section, and you will see the Repositories tab just like I do. Now, click on Clone a Git repository here. The copied information will be displayed, as I have already copied it previously. I already have an account that I was testing, but don't worry if you don't see one like I do. Click Next in this state. I will download in read-only mode from the master branch and test, as I will not sync the files. So, feel free to download from the master branch. Here, designate the destination folder as the workspace_YouTube set up earlier. And then click Finish. Git has been successfully connected. Now, let's import this project connected to Git to the workable project place. You can import it from here. I will show you how to do it from here. Click on Maven and then Existing Maven Projects. Select the location connected earlier for the browser. Then click Finish, and you can confirm that the project has been successfully imported. Now that the project has been imported, you need to do one more task: open the properties file. Here, open the Java build path. Then, in Libraries, click on Class Path and select Add Jars. In the project, navigate to Source, then Main, then Web App, then Library to find the JAR file. You'll need to link this file to enable and integrate JWT. Once selected, click Apply and Close, and the settings will be successfully applied. Next, proceed with a Maven update. So, perform an update project in Maven once. If it appears this way, it means the update is complete. At this stage, proceed with adding the installed Passwordless X1280 information into the source. As mentioned earlier in the previous materials, there is some information that needs to be modified here. Just proceed as it is. You need to change the server ID, then the key value, and finally the domain. Change to the domain you used when registering the service earlier. I will go ahead and modify this one page. Open the config.properties file, as shown here. Let's open this file and change both the server ID and corp ID. Copy the server ID you have saved earlier. Let's go ahead and change to the server ID on both places like so. Then, change the server key. Remember the IP address that was assigned earlier? Now, go ahead and update all three places with that saved address. Once you save it in this manner, the saving process is complete. Now, let's try running the project to see if it starts successfully. You can see that it is operating normally, as shown on the screen. As you can see now, the service has started on port 80. Let's check if this web page is displayed correctly.
It's displaying normally now. Let's switch it to English and take a look. Since there are currently no accounts available, let's register a new account. Let's set it as test01. Copy and register the same password, and similarly, enter the email. Once created, the sign-up process is complete. Let's first verify that the login works with the password. Once you confirm that the login works normally, proceed to log out. This time, let's switch to Passwordless and try to log in using Passwordless. Then, a message will appear stating that the account has not been registered yet. Here, let's register the account for Passwordless login. The very first time, you need to enter the password to verify your identity. Then, the registration screen for Passwordless login will appear. From the previous step, launch the Passwordless X1280 app installed on your mobile device. Use the plus button to activate the scanner. Launch the Passwordless X1280 app installed on your mobile device from the previous step, and activate the scanner by clicking the plus button. Then, scan the QR code on the screen to complete the registration. The registration is complete. Let's try logging in again. When you attempt to log in, the automatic password sent by the server will be displayed. This service was initially registered in test mode, so in test mode, you won't receive any separate push notifications. You can manually activate it from the registered service list in the mobile app. Once activated, you can see that the time on the screen is running just as it does on the web page. From this state, when you proceed with the approval, you'll see that the login completes successfully. This process completes the setup of the development environment. Now, consider the web application server as the actual server. I will demonstrate how to deploy a web application to a Linux web application server. In the Eclipse environment earlier, let's first create a WAR file. Go to Run As and click on Maven Install. The build has completed successfully. Next, if you go to the target folder inside our project folder, you'll see the file named root_rest.war has been created. The file will be uploaded to the home directory of the server configured earlier. As you can see, the upload completed successfully. Let's proceed with the next step. Let's open the file named 3.rockylinux_application server_setting.txt from the materials shared earlier and go through it step by step. First, I will proceed with installing MariaDB. Be careful not to install while you are inside the Docker container. Check the prompt to exit Docker, and then proceed with the installation. So, let's start the MariaDB installation. The MariaDB installation is complete. Similarly, start it up. Next, change the status to enabled. Next, I will install OpenJDK. Then, edit the profile. Go here and add this one line at the end. I have added and will apply the changes. And, I will install Tomcat. Since I will use the git command to install Tomcat, I will first install the wget command. The installation of wget is complete. Now, let's proceed with installing Tomcat using wget. The installation is complete. Next, use the tar command to decompress. Move the decompressed Tomcat files to the desired folder. Move it to the user then local directory. Next, create a Tomcat user. And I will change the user's permissions. Then, open server.xml to adjust the Tomcat startup environment. I will now change the port, currently set to 8080, to 80. Then, I will need to find 8080, right? Change this value to 80. Since Tomcat hasn't been started yet, running the shutdown command will result in an error saying there's nothing running. I'll start it up once everything is confirmed. The startup completed successfully. Since Tomcat instance is running on port 80 on the server to handle the web application, port 80 needs to be added to the firewall as well. Since this part is already installed, you can skip it. I will add and register the new port, and then perform a reload. Let's check again to see if it has been appropriately registered. You can see that port 80 has been added at the end. Now, let's start the previously installed MySQL. It's up and running as you see. Connect and create this database. The earlier installation was for the local environment's database. Now, I will proceed to run it in the same way on the server.
Once the verification is complete, exit by using the exit command. This completes the database setup. Now, let's go through the process of deploying the WAR file uploaded earlier to Tomcat, which will serve as the actual web application server, and then launching it using the WAR. First, perform a shutdown once. Since it is currently running normally, the shutdown should work fine. There's probably nothing running right now. Just in case, let's perform a cleanup of any garbage values in the root directory. Here, too, let's clean up things like root.war neatly. Next, copy and place the WAR file into the directory that will serve as the web root. You need to verify your current directory accurately and make the necessary changes accordingly. Let me show you how. I uploaded it here earlier. And as you can see, pwd is set to the root directory. You will find that root_rest.war is currently uploaded to the root directory, as you can see. So let's proceed in this folder. This means I will take the current root_rest.war from the current directory and place it under usr/local/tomcat/webapps, and will rename the file to root.war and place it. I will go ahead and copy. The copy is complete, and now root.war has been moved to that directory. Now, Tomcat will start and operate normally. I will execute it here. Now, the WAR file is being extracted, and the web application is being applied. Now, I will show you how to run it on the server. What happened earlier was in the local environment. Let's open a new tab and access the newly installed server number 183. You can see that it is starting normally. I will register a new account. I will set it as test0001. I will also set the password to match the ID, and you can use any email address. Let's first check if logging in with the password works. You can confirm that the login is successful. Log out and try logging in again with the same ID using Passwordless. Since the account hasn't been converted to Passwordless yet, a message appears. Let's try registering using the reg/unreg button with the username test0001. For the first time, you'll need to log in with a password. After registering, you'll be directed to a web page where you can complete the account registration. Launch the Passwordless app, then click the plus button to proceed with scanning the QR code for the account registration. The registration is now complete. Let's try logging in with Passwordless. Because push notifications aren't sent in test mode, you'll have to check the authentication request manually in the list. As you can see, the same number displayed on the web screen is also shown here. Once you approve and perform fingerprint authentication, the login process will be completed. And that completes the test. A demo site is available to assist you during the testing process. By accessing the URL shown here, you can freely test the basic features such as registration, deactivation, login, and passwordless functionality as much as you like. You're welcome to use it as often as you'd like. And if you have any questions or run into any issues while trying it out, you can use the Q&A issue board on the GitHub site I showed you earlier. Please feel free to leave your questions, I will do my best to respond sincerely. When posting a question, use the YouTube prefix in the title to receive more accurate answers based on the content uploaded to YouTube. Thank you for staying with us through this long session today.